Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Go ahead and get comfortable because today we are diving deep into a true masterclass on human behavior. Have you ever wondered why we sometimes do things we know for a fact are terrible for us? Or why it's so incredibly, almost painfully difficult to just admit when we are wrong? Well, we're going to unpack the psychology of that mental friction today by exploring the foundational text that really started it all. Chapter 1 of Leon Festinger's 1956 book, A Theory of Cognitive Dissonance. Okay, let's take a really quick look at our syllabus for today. 1. Chapter 1, Leon Festinger. 2. Defining cognitive dissonance. 3. The classic smoker example. 4. The financial investment decision. And finally, 5. 3 ways to reduce dissonance.
All right, let's get right into it. Section 1, Chapter 1, Leon Festinger.
So to really grasp this theory, you kind of have to understand how it was born, and it's a wild story. Back in the early 1950s, the psychologist Leon Festinger was actually observing a doomsday cult. These were everyday people who deeply, genuinely believed the world was going to be wiped out by this massive flood. They gave up everything, their homes, their jobs, their money. But then the predicted day arrived and, well, no flood. Now, you would think they'd just say, okay, we were wrong, right? Absolutely not. Festinger observed that the most committed members actually doubled down, claiming their intense faithfulness was the exact thing that saved the world. This fascinating look at how people will literally shift their beliefs to explain away a false prediction is what led to the publication of Festinger's groundbreaking book in 1956. And today, it's still the ultimate framework for understanding human choices.
Moving right along to Section 2, Defining Cognitive Dissonance.
Let's translate this academic jargon into plain English, shall we? Cognitive simply relates to your thoughts, and dissonance just means a lack of harmony. So cognitive dissonance is the psychological discomfort, that agonizing mental tension you experience when your actions completely clash with your established beliefs or with reality itself. It is, quite literally, a war in your mind. You see, from a psychological standpoint, our brains are hardwired for efficiency. We absolutely need our internal beliefs to match external reality just so we can navigate life safely. So whenever you feel a pang of guilt about a choice you made, or you find yourself frantically scrambling to justify an action you just took, yep, that's you experiencing cognitive dissonance. Now, consonance, that's the sweet spot. That's the default state we all crave. It's when what we believe perfectly matches what we do. Like, you believe a college education is a good thing, so you encourage your kids to go to college. Simple. Perfect harmony. Dissonance, on the other hand, is when what we believe is in direct conflict with what we do. And Festinger's foundational rule is this: the existence of dissonance is so psychologically unbearable that it will aggressively motivate a person to try and reduce it. We absolutely despise that feeling of inconsistency. Which brings us to Section 3, the classic smoker example. Come on, admit it. Have you ever done something knowing full well it was a terrible idea, but you just went ahead and did it anyway? We all have, and this is exactly the scenario Festinger used to ground his theory. He wrote right in Chapter 1, a person may know that smoking is bad for him and yet continue to smoke. This right here is the ultimate classic case study of cognitive dissonance. You've got a behavioral element, the act of smoking, and an environmental knowledge element, the cold, hard medical fact that smoking is harmful. These two things are entirely dissonant. So the big question is, how does our subconscious step in to fix our ruined peace of mind? Well, instead of just stopping the bad habit, the smoker uses mental gymnastics to justify the inconsistency. Festinger specifically outlined how the human mind rationalizes this whole mess. The smoker might tell themselves, you know what, I enjoy smoking so much, it's totally worth the risk. Or maybe they go on the offensive and attack the science. Those health risks are totally exaggerated by the media. They might even introduce entirely new fears. If I quit, I'll gain weight, and that's just as bad for my heart. Or they just throw their hands up in fatalism. Look, I can't avoid every single danger in life anyway. The kicker here, the person isn't resolving the physical danger of smoking at all, not even a little. They're only resolving the mental discomfort so they can just keep smoking in peace. All right, let's pivot to Section 4, the financial investment decision. Listen, dissonance isn't just about bad habits, like smoking. It pops up basically every time we have to make a tough choice. Let's be real, we have all felt that stomach-dropping panic of making a risky purchase. Think about the pure anxiety of making a major financial investment. What happens when you risk your hard-earned money, but the market variables are completely 100% out of your control? Here is the core conflict of that situation. You take the action, you commit your money to an investment. But the reality? Economic conditions are entirely out of your hands, and the whole thing could fail. Festinger points out that this inherent conflict creates immediate, powerful dissonance. You took a definitive action, but your environment is completely uncertain. So to feel safe again and reduce that agonizing mental tension, what do? The investor will often aggressively focus only on the pros of their decision, while completely downplaying or straight up ignoring the cons. We literally filter our view of reality just to protect the choices we've already made. It's wild. Okay, final section, section 5. 3 ways to reduce dissonance. Now, you're going to want to pay close attention to this because it is essentially the ultimate cheat sheet for understanding how our brains actually resolve mental friction. According to Festinger's theory, when we feel that terrible inner tension, we take one of these 3 steps to get our inner harmony back. Step 1, change behavior. This is the most direct, obvious route. If smoking causes dissonance, you just stop smoking. Boom. But as we all know, changing an established behavior is incredibly hard and honestly pretty painful. So we usually skip to step 2. Change the environment. This means trying to alter the reality of the situation, or way more commonly, finding social support to help you deny that reality. Think about it. If your friends agree with your questionable investment, suddenly it feels a lot less risky, right? And finally, step 3. Add new cognitions. If you can't change your behavior and you can't change reality, you just hunt for new information that reconciles the two. You seek out articles that support your bad habits and totally ignore the ones that don't. You just keep adding new thoughts until the dissonance is finally drowned out. Ultimately, everything we've talked about today leaves us with a pretty provocative final question. Are your beliefs actually mapped to reality, or are they really just protecting your ego? Festinger's Chapter 1 teaches us a tough pill to swallow. Humans aren't really strictly rational beings. We are rationalizing beings. We crave internal consistency so deeply that we will literally alter our perception of the entire world just to avoid admitting we were wrong. So the very next time you find yourself aggressively defending a questionable choice, maybe take a step back and ask yourself, am I actually looking at the facts here, or am I just trying to cure my cognitive dissonance? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep seeking the truth out there, and I'll catch you next time.